Let's get started. Welcome everybody to the April 17th edition of SIG Contributor Experience. My name is Christoph Lecker. I will be the host for the call. I'd like to remind everybody that we have a code of conduct and that we will abide by it during this call. Please treat everybody with respect. Are there any new contributors on the call that would like to introduce themselves? Okay. If at any later point you would like to, please feel free to later in the call. We will start with some recurring business. Our regular program updates, office hours. Are we good on that, George?
Yeah, I had a session this morning, over 100 people for the first time, which is good. I'm having a session on the West Coast. Everything is good to go.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Meet our contributors. I know Paris isn't with us today. Is there anyone else that can speak to meet our contributors?
Last session was similar, over 100 people. I think our last 3 or 4 events have gone over 100, so we're reaching some kind of thing here. Little bit I do want to add is I did file a ticket for CNCF that we would like to request like a slide, like when you're sitting at KubeCon, you know, and they show those slides to kind of get more eyeballs on the programs and things like that. So things are looking pretty good with that.
Awesome. Community meeting. Again, back to you, George.
Yeah, so Paris is hosting this week. Everything looked fine last I checked, but I'll circle back up with her. If she stays out sick or something, you know, it's trivial for me to step in and host, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, great. The need to know chairs team leads email. Does anybody have anything that they would like to add to this week's email?
I'd say just to remind people to sign up for the Contributor Summit. I think that's one of the recurring items on there.
Yeah, I was just looking at the last one that went out, and yeah, the #1 item is the Barcelona Contributor Summit. On that note, rolling into Contributor Summit updates. Jonas?
Yep. So on Monday this week, we spent a lot of time going over the comms for Barcelona. So making sure that we have the right comms going out in advance to all the attendees, people who are attending the workshop or attending the SIG face-to-face meetings, making sure that all volunteers know what they're doing. So we spent a lot of time going over that. We're still finalizing that, so that's not complete yet. Contributor Summit right now has 202 people approved by my last count. We got 30 people for the one-on-one session and 44 for the 201 session. And we got a crazy number of people joining us for Sunday, which is 184 people joining us on Sunday for the little celebration there. So this is really good. We also talked to Deb regarding how many people are registered for the event, and we're roughly halfway there. So I think we'll see a little spurt here in registrations as well. For SIG face-to-faces, Dawn has updated the issue tracking that. We now have confirmation regarding times for all SIG face-to-face meetings. So we will be updating Schedule with that information shortly. And I think that's it for now.
Good. For Contributor Summit Shanghai, the registration form just went live. And so our team will be trying to promote the heck out of it so that people sign up, particularly for the existing contributor segment. If anybody in this call was planning on being in Shanghai as well, we need people to lead sessions for the existing contributor day. We have a number of ideas from things that people asked for last year. in terms of things like, for example, tour of the Kubernetes code bases in detail, which we don't do during the new contributor workshop because it takes too long. If anybody is going to Shanghai and able to do that, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to be doing things like reaching out to everybody who's a speaker in Shanghai and seeing whether or not they can do a existing contributor session.
Okay, great, thank you. And also special shout out to Bob, because you noticed the thing that I noticed, that we didn't have a note taker, and thank you for adding some notes, Bob. Appreciate it. So let's go into going through our project board. Just one moment. Okay. So looking at our project board, so we've got one thing in blocked. I don't think there's going to be any movement on that for a while. I'm gonna take a look at that issue and see if we can just move that back to like not in progress, because it's just not being prioritized right now. So I don't think we need to speak about it recurringly in blocked. Going into our in progress stuff, the Slack Infra sub-project into contributor experience. I know there's been some updates there. Can anybody speak to how things are going with the Slack Infra and the automation pieces?
Yeah, I'll do it. So the project, also known as Tempelis, which is, I believe, is it Greek for lazy, aka slacker, is in full effect. So right now we have already been submitting PRs to create channels and create user groups. So we've created a YouTube admin user group and a Zoom admin user group. We have also delegated control of all SIG-docs-star to SIG Docs. So if SIG Docs needs to create a localization channel for, say, Italian, they can go ahead and PR it and also approve it, and it will just happen, which is kind of awesome. It's automating Slack. I think as far as like Contribex and Slack Infra goes, we were still trying to figure out where the project, or officially make it a sub-project. And I think we were waiting on Paris and Elsie to give a +1 in that PR. Am I remembering this right? I think so.
Yep, it is linked in the notes.
Excellent. What is upcoming as far as Slack Infra goes, we are also looking at ways to let people link their GitHub identity to their Slack identity. It will be entirely optional, but currently if we create a user group, we actually require the GitHub username of the person, and we link it in a file called users.yaml to their machine readable Slack ID, which is like this 7 or 8 character string that's completely different from your username, because you can change your username all the time. So you're probably going to be hearing about that in a week or so. We're writing up docs on what we would like to implement before we make it public.
So just a thing on the sub-project. I feel like when I originally proposed this sub-project, I included both the repo name and the fact that it would be a separate project called Slack Infra, and I got +1s from, I guess Elsie didn't explicitly +1 it, but I got +1s from everybody else who is a tech lead in Paris, and nobody objected, and I waited over 72 hours, and I'm curious why we're revisiting this decision.
Paris had added a comment on the PR if it should be in the communication sub-project. So just to like cover all bases.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's been much communication on that in a bit.
Yeah, I very explicitly would prefer it be its own sub-project. But okay, I feel like I did the thing. Let's move forward.
For the record, I would agree just because this has a lot of moving parts and a lot of effort behind it to the point where I think it's enough effort to warrant a completely separate sub-project.
It's a size thing, right? It's just like huge. So
Yeah, because
I think
We're over bike shedding. We can move on. I just mine was a process question. I thought I went through the process and was confused about what I could have done better to move us forward more expediently. And it feels like perhaps I wasn't clear enough in both the repo and the sub-project in the initial email, and I will find a way to highlight that the next time I put out a vote.
Okay, so moving on, plug in to block like tag messages in commit messages. I think Nikita, you have something out about that?
So the PR for it is open in test infra, and the email, the lazy consensus email, has been sent to Kubernetes dev. So we're just waiting on the time box period to end.
Great. Bot issue management lifecycle for our other orgs. I think we're in the same boat there.
Also,
Yeah.
there's bike shedding on the name bot.
Yeah, I think that's a secondary thing, and maybe something for SIG testing. I don't know. I don't have strong opinions on it. Other people do, apparently, on the mailing list. I don't know if the people here have opinions on what it should be named.
I explicitly haven't sent an email trying to clarify whether people feel like it needs to be renamed before taking it org-wide. But I would, maybe that's something you should do. Maybe you just do it and ask for forgiveness. I don't know. I also share the not too strong feelings. I thought the bot made itself very clear that it is in fact a bot, and you can click links to find out more, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Sub-project details and working group details in SIG.YAML. I know we've mentioned these repeatedly. Are there any movement on these? Can we just should these just move back to the backlog if we're not making any progress?
So regarding the sub-project details of SIG.YAML, I've pinged Aaron and Tim to ask if we can close this. I think it's like a decision from steering if we can close this. And regarding the working group info in SIG.YAML, there are 2 PRs that are still left to be merged. One just requires a root approval, and another is also good to go, but just requires a rebase. So I think it can stay in progress, and we can close this out pretty soon.
I will close out the sub-project details thing with a comment because, hey, I'm from steering or whatever, but I agree, it can be closed. I feel like we probably said as much last time, and then I just went off into the wilderness instead of doing something, so sorry about that.
So the next one, adding marketing, new contributor ambassador, deleting old project management. I think this one is ready to go.
Yeah, it just needs a hold cancel.
Yeah, okay. I'll take a look at that one after the call. But I think that one can get pushed out. Dev stats, new repos aren't being included in dev stats.
I haven't had time to work on it yet. I can maybe take a look over the weekend, have some time, but just haven't had time.
Okay.
Ping me offline. I'm happy to work with you on this, Nikita, if I can. Because
Cool.
I did the last repo list.
Building an issue triage team for K community.
I don't have any updates on this either.
I saw Zadev here.
Yeah, it's yep. Hey, George. Thanks. Yeah. So on the hey, Nikita, yeah, on the team building, not much updates. I think we pretty much finalized on 4 people so far: Paris, Nikita, myself, and I forget the name, but he's also in the assignee here in this issue. So we basically wanted whoever wants to be part of the team, just assign themselves, or one of us will assign. So if you scroll up, Christoph, please, then you see the 4th name there under the assignee.
Oh, on the assignees?
Yeah, I think so. We have 4 people, right? So yeah, so the first one, that's the name I was trying to find out. I think he's also part of the triage team in the release. So I think 4 people, we initially decided 3 to 5 people. So I think it's good enough team. We just need to start working. So I'm trying to create a triage guidelines, customized to the community's contributor experience, SIG. And I know some more discussion is needed there. I'll be creating a PR this week with some initial thoughts and changes. We already have a triage guidelines for the bigger one, right? For the Kubernetes repo, Kubernetes. But it's big. Some of this thing does not really apply, at like a particular SIG for country X, for example. So what we decided, Paris, Nikita, myself, we had a meeting, and what we decided was to use the triage guidelines we have for Kubernetes repo, and then the one which release team also has, and see what we can sort of grab from both of them and have something we can create for our own SIG, and then sort of implement it and see how quickly we can get rid of the issues and stay on top of it. So that's the update. Like I supposed to create a PR earlier, but yeah, last couple of weeks for a little bit on and off for me on the work. So I'll be creating something soon this week and have it up for review.
Great, thank you. Okay, a few left here. Create a summit process doc. How to for summits with functions, general timelines and role descriptions.
That is currently in progress. It's being broken up with individual people working on different parts of that book.
Sounds great. Contributor workflow etiquette doc.
I was actually just talking to Edouard about it. It should hopefully get taken care of soon.
Great. A link checker for, I'm guessing, the community repo.
It's like someone has
I'm guessing someone has a PR open. It's just not.
Oh boy. I hope I'm not the blocker for this. I might be.
You're not.
Oh, apparently I am in some way.
True.
Okay, I'll take a look at that one. And if see if it's viable, if we can move it forward or not.
Love it.
Contributor experience survey results. Paris isn't here. Can anybody else speak to it? Nope. Moving on. And creating more roles for contribax. I'm pretty sure this one is continuing to move on in just like in separate chunks.
Can we like add this to the umbrella issues column?
Yeah, I think so, because I think the smaller things like the events team and marketing team and triage team, I think those are all just like split up into different pieces.
Yeah.
So I think that makes sense to move that as an umbrella.
Or it sounds like someone is trying to talk, but they're not able to. No? Okay. Might be just me then.
Someone's ordering pizza, maybe.
Yeah, I hear something. It sounds like background noise in
Yeah.
the office, though.
Okay, great. So that wraps it up for the project board. Moving on into open mic. YouTube, I'm not sure who added that to the agenda.
So sorry, my microphone was off. That was me. So YouTube, I have a PR open 3542 to get like that YouTube team all shaped up. I need to apparently put it someplace else and actually get it committed correctly. So I might reach out to for help on that because I never followed this workflow before. And Karen Chu has also volunteered to help with bumpers. So we're going to talk and go through ideas and see who can make what.
Wait, I thought we put this in the right place. Let me look at the PR.
Paris said put it someplace else.
You wanted it as a sub-project of communication, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't going to be listed as a like sort of top-level sub-project. It'd just be a folder under communication. It still needs an owner's file and things like that, but it would not be updating like the README or the SIG.
Got it.
Like that.
Okay. Well, I will just trash this one and start over then, because that'd be a lot to undo. Okay. So just put it as a subfolder, give it an owner's file, done. Cool.
If you want, can take a look at it if you want to save some of the stuff from the PR after this.
Yeah, no. I will do that real quick after this and reach out, make sure it's good to go. That's all I got. Thanks.
Great. So there's nothing else on the agenda, so I will open it up to the floor if anybody has any topics they want to raise or discuss. Now is your opportunity.
I just have one question. I'm like looking at the mailing list, the Kubernetes dev mailing list discussion regarding the commit message, like disallowing @mentions and keywords which close issues and commit messages. So Josh, I think you're also on the call. You mentioned that we should also...
but that would be effectively another feature. So I just +1 your thing because I think we should do your thing. I just want to do something else additional, but that'll probably be a completely separate Prow feature anyway. So
okay,
it's not blocking. I +1 you. I just want to do something else in addition.
Okay, I think we have a note in the PR template which says like don't add the fixes keyword if you have a conformance test fix or an E2E test fix, but I guess we can follow up on this on an issue or something.
People do it anyway all the time, and it becomes a real problem during the late stages of the release because tests are broken, people submit fixes, sometimes even speculative fixes, and then those fixes don't work, but the issue is marked as closed, which means the release team loses track of the issue until they notice that the test is flaking again. And particularly for things that you know are tests that are difficult to fix, like some of the longer running E2E tests and performance tests, you know, and just people get in the habit of typing fixes and they don't think about it.
Are you proposing disallowing fixes in all PR bodies?
No, I was thinking we would be selective about it, probably based on labels or something. Because like we don't want to block people who are doing that because they're doing a bug fix to a storage driver or something. The cases where it's a real problem, I think, are more specialized, but
Okay, yeah, I feel like that's a social problem.
it's a social problem, but it's been one that's been persistent for the last 5 releases. And so I don't think we're going to fix it on a purely social basis.
Sure, the pain you're not feeling is the pain of issues not being closed because people don't use the thing. Yeah, anyway, that's fine. I'll stop.
Yeah, if there's a specific proposal for how you'd like that to look, I think that's definitely something that Contribex would be interested in, and we can spec that out. Like, how much work is that? What is the trade-off of such a proposal and that kind of stuff? So if release has specifics around that, I think that we should just have that as a separate proposal.
So I apologize if Sadov already mentioned this, or this may be covered by Sadov's thing, but another open mic question I had was what's going on with the needs SIG triage stuff and the idea of one issue triage workflow to rule them all?
Aaron, yeah, sorry, can you repeat the question? And needs SIG triage, like a SIG for the triage, that thing you discussed?
Yeah, so it's in the May milestone. There's an umbrella issue that was proposed about 30 days ago. And there was much discussion by people who were really excited about the possibility of creating a new standard issue triage workflow using a label called needs SIG triage. And I was curious where we were with that.
Yeah, I honestly have no updates. Is that the one with the team's need? He wanted a new label. I mean, that wasn't for the whole SIG, right? But no, I personally don't have any updates on that. Sorry about that. But yeah, anyone else can chime in on that. Let's take a look.
Okay, cool. I bumped into it while, hey, heads up everybody, the needs rebase label is no longer gonna be gray, it's gonna be red because it prevents merge. And then I realized needs kind and needs SIG also prevent merge, but only for Kubernetes. And then that gets into why do we need kind and SIG labels on PRs in Kubernetes? And it turns out it's related to the release team's issue triage workflow, which led me to this issue about redoing the issue triage workflow for everything. And should we make kind and SIG and priority labels for everything merge blocking? I have no idea. So I'm gonna stop, and needs rebase is turning the color red. And soon it will be called Do Not Merge Needs Rebase. I'll talk to you later.
That would have been way more dramatic if you would have closed your Zoom window at that point.
Yeah, if you could have thrown something, that would have been
just
great.
Like a pro tip for that one.
That works.
Well done. Well done.
I need one of those.
What's next?
I was going to say, are we done?
I don't know
Is
how.
there anything else anyone wants to discuss?
So, like
go
a process that I would just put out there. Christoph, I really appreciate you walking us through the contributor experience project board. However, I feel like that project board is not in sync with the milestone called May. And there are a lot of issues in the milestone called May. It's unclear to me whether or not the milestone is intended to be, whether we're talking May 1st, KubeCon EU May, or end of May as the deadline for closing out all these issues. But there are a lot of them in there.
I believe it was for KubeCon, because most of them are, a good chunk of them are associated with Barcelona.
Some of them are.
Could someone toss a URL to just being able to see everything that is tagged in May in general in the repo?
Yes, I pasted it in chat again.
Thank you, thank you.
In general, I think we should go through the milestone because we have lots of project boards. Like we have a community management, we have a GitHub management project board, and we miss issues that are on those project boards. But if we go through the milestone, we can go through all the relevant issues.
So I don't want to drag everybody through this. I think it's more a question of, is there anything here anybody really wanted to talk to? Otherwise, I'm totally happy to go use my 30 minutes to troll other people about other things.
Why don't you swing by for a hug, buddy?
Dude, this cat has all the hugs I need. It's
Yeah,
great.
you're done with release. It's supposed to get easier after.
Yeah, right?
Okay, well, if nobody has, like, last call, anything to bring up?
One
George.
last thing regarding the find folks who have not been active in owners files issue. Do we have consensus around using the emeritus field in owners files? And can we move forward with it?
I thought we got consensus last week, didn't we?
Yeah, I just want to confirm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we got consensus around that. It's just like crafting up the proposal of like, what's the time horizon? How do we determine who's inactive? And what do we send out and to who about that inactivity? Like all of that, those kind of pieces around it need to just get written down somewhere so we have a defined policy and then we try it out.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Anyone want to talk about charter scope today or table it? I don't know how everyone's mental fortitude is handling right now because we're like
Talk about what?
about the charter rescope thing. So those who didn't go to the last steering meeting, we did get assigned Michelle and Brandon to work with us in CNCF as far as like scoping the Slack moderation bits stuff with CNCF. So that's in progress. I don't think we had any.
Has Michelle reached out to you to follow up since she said she would take that on?
Let me look at the issue. Like we don't have to discuss it now, but I don't know, just a reminder. I still would like to go through the charter and descope. We could set a separate session or like a live VS Code thing, have everyone connect and like argue over every single sentence, or we could do that. I just kind of wanted to say that, you know, I'm still very interested in making things more explicit in there if anyone else is interested in doing that. All right, silence. Excellent. Just what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It looks like Brandon just no, neither Brandon or Michelle have followed up on me, but I'll off-band ping them.
Okay. This is following up specifically on the Slack moderation thing. I also have a bone to pick with them. Christoph and I both just came from the Kate's Infra working group where we have a bone to pick with them around G Suite. And I think that ties into some other requests around automating user management, mailing list management and stuff. It sure would be easier to do this stuff with APIs. So
yeah,
I'd like to follow up with them.
Yeah, and then everyone will definitely want to be at this Thursday's community meeting because Catherine's going to show the tool with the automation on the Slack.
Right.
So that will be fun.
So
hold on. Sorry. Realistically, you're probably just going to see a bunch of YAML files. It's not like there's some shiny dashboard.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like, I don't know, it kind of shows that we, like where we need to go as opposed to, you know what I mean? Like if all of our community processes have like a YAML file that a thing takes and makes another thing do the right thing, then I think that's better off than, you know, ping Jeffrey on Slack to get a channel. And I get the general idea that most people in the community would like that, right? Because then you're just doing a PR on something instead of Yeah. But whatever.
Yes, GitOps is fundamentally an amazing model for everything, but the scale of the size of our mailing lists does not mesh well with the concept of a free unpaid G Suite instance. And the cost of all of those users is maybe more than this project is willing to bear. So it's about like finding the appropriate compromise that allows us to use the right set of APIs for all the things.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're very much locked into the use of Google Groups for document editing permissions and stuff. That seems to have worked very well within this community. But yes, GitOps for all the things. I can get behind that. It's just about the engineering effort to actually implement said GitOps, let alone the operational effort to run said pieces of infrastructure. If you're interested in helping out with all this, WG Kate's Infra, where we'll run the Slack stuff eventually.
You mean it's not going to be run on a Kubernetes 1.9 cluster? Actually, it was 1.6.
Why would you repeat that to other people?
Yeah, no.
Let's not do that. So, okay, cool.
Just a single node. That's fine.
It's all running inside of a kind cluster on somebody's laptop.
Yeah. Ben's specific laptop. All right, are we done?
I think we're done.
Sweet.
Thanks, everyone.
Great.
See you next week.
20 minutes early. Awesome. See you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.